a bully. He's a Goliath, and he is stampeding people and lives and your laws.
Madam,
I'm sorry.
I would appreciate if you not use names and make accusations. I mean, do your testimony, and I know it's not an easy thing to do.
It's not easy, and I'm sorry.
But
I didn't mean to.
I would appreciate that
I didn't mean
not
to.
Name names, please.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you.
So, in summary, there have been murders committed. Murders. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
But how did it all start? It's because an old Hawaiian man named Bill Huddy, who lived next door to the Marvins, came to him one day and said, "Jimmy, the Marvins won't let me use the road. My wife and I are getting old. We cannot walk down the trail anymore to the Kuleana house. Can you help us?" And Bill Huddy came with a paper bag. And inside the paper bag, there was $40,000. And Jimmy said, "Forget it, Bill. Take your paper bag, take your money. I'll go help you." And that was the first thing that Jimmy Pflueger did, albeit incorrectly without a permit. But that shows you, I mean, a lot of stories are being said about Jimmy Pflueger, but that shows you where his heart is.
That road down there, it just seemed like if they'd let Mrs. Huddy have it and treated Jimmy Pflueger right, that road would still be there and nobody would be complaining. Bill, you know, Bill was getting age and he ran into him in Oahu, he told me, and he said he needed some money because he was doing this, and Jimmy said, "Hey, you know me for years. Hey, here's my check. You go do what you got to do and we'll work it out." So that was fine. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy wanted to make a road down there. And he didn't want everybody driving up there and risking their lives going down there because they could go to jail. I mean, you know, I could. And Bill died, and then the mud came, and that's when those people realized they got a lawsuit. And I became a bad man, and he accused me of really bad stuff. Rick had just made it a trail to drive his car down because it was a footpath. Yeah. Then I went over to him, he was showing me before he moved in down there. He had a tent down. He said, "Well, this is the trail they used for the movie None But the Brave." And I said, "Yeah, it's a hell of a steep trail." And he goes, "Well, I'm going to cut the how bush out and then let it dry out, because you know how keeps it wet, especially if it's really steep." And then he said, so he did that, and then I went out to see his progress, and then that's when I said, "Well, God, looks like the water's all going straight to your house." He says, "Yeah," he said, "I want to put in these, they were cut tree branches about this big around and sink them in so that when the water came down, it would go to the right instead of going to his house." So it was a problem back 30-some years ago. And then the guy came with a big weed whacker. And that's when he reconstructed that whole area.
Who was that guy?
Scotty.
Scotty Holland?
Yeah. So Scotty, great guy, but he was just doing it, and so he just asked Scotty if he would just come down and get both sides of the road so it'd be more drier. And then that's when, once he did that, then I think Hearst came and did his little grading, and then all of a sudden Nick was going to build a house. So they made the road better. They kept working on the road, bringing cracked coral in because it was muddy. Everybody parked at the top. Yeah, the road was, well, first it was a path.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when he moved in and I helped him, it was a path. Nobody ever went down Marvin's Road or the road because it wasn't a road.
It was a path.
So it was a path.
The Marvins say the road has always been there and that it's been maintained by them as a road since the 1960s. Cane knives are used to cut back hawbush and crushed coral is dumped at the top of the road, Amy Marvin said. Amy Marvin said the crushed coral is put into a pickup truck and spread out by hand onto the road. "We spread it ourselves. It is poured from the pickup truck," said Marvin. This from the Garden Island, May 10, 2006. A counterclaim filed in 2003 alleging that the Marvins hired a contractor to cut, grade, and widen the road that is located on Pflueger land, and they did so without letting him know what they were doing.
Hawbush path from the very top, not the first plateau. When you start to walk down, there's a flat spot, and you could go this way to Bill's place, or you could go down to his place where the trail went. So everybody was parking not just there, they parked up here because when it rained, you couldn't get around that steep to get to that plateau. So they parked up here so I could look out my door.
Pine trees were.
Yeah, where the pine trees were. A fisherman parked there. Everybody parked there. Nobody went down to the second until, well, some real serious fishermen just go down that little lip and park there and then walk the backside down to Huddy's house. It went right to his house, and that's how Bill went all these years.
All those years.
Nobody ever went down Marvin's Road or the road because it wasn't a road.
It was a path.
So it was a path. So if you wanted to walk down there, it was kind of like it'd be easier just to go down the Bills. You're closer to the beach than going all the way down that trail.
Right.
So that's when he came and said, Joe, well, there's a road here. And I said, well, it looks like a walk path. He says, well, I'm going to whack these down. And I got my Jeep, and I'm going to...
That's the Marvin.
Yeah, the Marvin. He said, I'm going to drive down. He showed me the water. I said, wow, it's really wet here. Because there's that spring that comes up. He went down and saw that.
And that's on the opposite side of his house.
Yeah, that's Jimmy's land.
Right.
So the water's coming down. I said, was this yours? He goes, well, no, it's actually Pflueger, but we're going to try to claim it.